Welcome Yamhill County to Speaking Frankly. I'm your host, Howie Harkema, and our tagline is, "And how we doing?" Today I have two guests. They're both from Provoking Hope, which is a recovery wraparound services here in McMinnville and other places. And first of all, I have Traci Hamilton. Welcome, Traci.
Hi, Howie. Nice to meet you.
And we have Jesse Maxwell. Nice to have you on the show, finally, ready to go. So, first of all, what is Provoking Hope? Jump right in.
Provoking Hope is recovery support services. Our mission statement is to provide a clean and sober team and environment to transition people onto a successful path of recovery. Anytime anybody has recovery or addiction and mental health on board, right? We also have referral processes where other organizations refer them to us, but you can just walk through the door anytime between 8 and 5, tell them that you're in need of services. You can do an intake right there and start seeing a certified recovery mentor.
Anything to add to that, Traci?
That Provoking Hope is like a family that a lot of people don't have. You know, somebody
Yes.
walk beside you each and every step of the way, whatever that step of the way you choose it to be.
And you are like a family, because I've
Absolutely.
seen photos on Facebook of your entire team, and I have a good friend that works there, Rick Meyer, and others. So I'm very pleased to have you both on today to explain what you guys do. So is Provoking Hope a nonprofit?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 2 fundraisers a year, and really that's to pay for overhead. We do get funding from the county for working certain programs. We try to get in a little bit everywhere, just helping as many people as possibly can, but we do get funding from different agencies in the county.
Right.
In 2018, we had over $900,000 come in, over $900,000 go out. There's a difference between just over $4.
Yeah.
So the director's not getting rich driving a fancy car. CRMs aren't getting rich driving fancy cars. The board members, that's volunteer work.
Right.
That nobody's getting rich doing this. I mean,
So what are those 2 fundraisers that you do each year?
So during the summer we do the golf tournament with Michael Book Country Club.
Right.
And we have a January fundraiser dinner. Has live auction, raffles, all sorts of stuff.
And that just occurred, and
It
you
did.
were one of the speakers.
I was privileged to be one of the speakers and tell my story in front of approximately 250 people. That made a difference. We had a lot of people in our wraparound services that were there. And it was an absolutely amazing event. There was a lot of different stories so that people can see what it is like on the other side of the fence too. You know what I mean?
I do.
And so it was our pleasure to be able to give that to the people so that they understand better what addiction is about.
Right. And Jesse, in the past, you've also spoke at these dinners.
I did, yeah. I told part of my story when I spoke. This time I got the opportunity to talk about family reunification and how vital that is and how you can get that back in recovery. Even chairman of the board, Jack Maxwell, he spoke with his wife on that too, my brother. And it was all those stories, man, people from TTRS, and it was just incredible. It was powerful.
That's Jack Maxwell the third.
Yeah,
Yes.
the
Yes.
third, yes.
So talk a little bit about that, family reunification.
So we create carnage and havoc in our lives in addiction.
Yes.
Right? We destroy these personal relationships with our kids and our parents and our siblings and just the community altogether, right? And in recovery, one thing we're able to do is to reunify, right? Like what I do, part of what I do is co-facilitate with Albert Prettyman. He's another CRM there. So we work together in the Responsible Dads program. And this is just a part of working with fathers and trying to reunify that family between them and their kids. That's one thing that recovery gives us, right? Is we can tell people through our addiction, like, I'm going to change, I'm going to do this different, like, I'm not going to steal, I'm not going to lie, right? But until we actually show people that, we walk the path.
Right.
And none of that matters. But in recovery, when we really live that, then we get all that stuff back. That's stuff that we can get back. And I know because I've done it.
Right.
Relationship with my mom, my brother, my kids. Those are all that's reunification right there, and this is all things that I have back.
And you're about to have another baby.
I am in July, a little girl, the first one. So there's 3 boys, and now it's going to be a girl. So
Wow, that's going to change your world.
yeah, I can feel it already. I got 3 boys. The oldest is 13, the youngest is 8, and now I'm having a little girl, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to be a father.
A little too late for you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to be awesome, though, and he gets to do this sober. And that's the thing, is that in family reunification, we bring our families through our addiction, and that is so hard for them. And people tend to forget that we need to bring them through our recovery also. And reunification does that. We bring them through our addiction, we bring them through our recovery, and so that maybe they have the hopes that they don't have to be in the same situation that we were in. They don't have to be in that black hole that we fell into, that there's hope for us all, that we can be respectful part of the community.
Sure. So what is a certified recovery mentor?
So we're peer mentors.
Talk about peer-to-peer.
Peer-to-peer. So what we have to offer, the one thing that's most amazing about Provoking Hope is that we're peers. We're people that have gone through that, losing your family,
Right.
and freely giving away. And a lot of people say that I lost all this stuff to addiction, right? We freely give it away because we choose drugs first.
Right.
What we have to offer people is when they come in and they sit down and they're like, man, this is what's happening, and I've lost all this stuff, and we can look them in the eye and say, like, I know exactly how you feel because I've been there, and mean it, right? We didn't get an education out of a book, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that,
No.
but what we have is lived experience,
Right.
and that's incredibly valuable when it comes to the addiction world, right? Because I want somebody, when I know, because I walked through the door as a client at Provoking Hope, and I sat down with somebody, Chris Cardinal, who is now the manager of the CRMs.
Right.
And he was able to do that for me, like, hey, I've been there. I know what that's like, right? And it's just, that was so valuable to me. And it was seeing like, man, look where these people are. My brother too, in addiction, went to being a CRM, and they get their lives together, right? And then they reach back and help the still suffering. And that's incredible to see that they can do it. It's inspiring,
Yeah.
right? And I wanted a piece of that.
So we're all life students, period.
Absolutely.
I mean, our experiences are all different, but some are similar. And to be able to share what you've been through and your experience has to be unbelievable to allow other people to use your knowledge base and come through the system.
Yeah,
Right, absolutely. So, and that's where we get to where we become familiar to them, is because we share our stories with them. Like, I know that several times a day that I share pieces of my story, because I took so much out of our community by doing what I did in my addiction. And addiction is like an octopus with many tentacles that reach out to further than we even can imagine.
Yeah.
Touches lives. Our addiction touches lives much further than what is right here in front of us. You know what I mean?
It's
Oh,
like
to the greater world.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's like dropping a pebble in a pond.
Right.
It's that ripple effect. And that's the glorious thing about peer-to-peer services is we're sitting down with somebody and we're doing that peer-to-peer work, and we're positively impacting their lives and the people around them too, right? Because they're willing to do something different, which is positive for the people around them, right? So, and we come in as addicts, and we've done all this damage, right? And now we're able to help somebody, and it's the same thing. From this side of the table, right, we can drop that pebble, and it's positive this time.
Absolutely. Believing in people until they can believe in themselves is
Right.
really important. Because us too, it started off with somebody believing in us, that
Exactly.
we could be more than what we were at that time. And so, of course, we extend our hand out to them, to help lift them up and walk through them through all of this, through all their wraparound services, because they are worthy.
And
They
talk
are
about
important.
wraparound services for a minute, because it's multiple agencies all working in tandem with each other, in collaboration as a partnership or an alliance to better people's lives and to bring them back into the community holistically.
Right, and to be a productive member of society.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So When we're talking about wraparound services, we're talking about health and human services, right? Chemical dependency and mental health. This
Sure.
is one of them. We work closely with the drug court systems, juvenile probation, those probation officers, the judges. We work with attorneys, family and youth.
Yes.
There's, let's see, all the churches for morning breakfast, right? One CRM, one admin, somebody's on the admin side of the building. We partner up, one of each of us, and we go to each breakfast, right? So that we're just making our presence known.
You guys also come to Peace and Community, of which I'm part of, and have services for the people that might come to you or you might go to talk to. So that's incredible as well.
Yes.
So, a family place and Lutheran Community Services.
Yeah, Lutheran Family Services.
Yes. Also, Project Able and Champion Team and NA meetings, Alcohol Anonymous meetings.
Well, yeah, the traditional 12-step.
Yeah, the 12-step programs. Let's talk about that for a moment, because it's a real key ingredient on a daily basis for your recovery. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so that's relatable to the peer mentor experience, right? In these traditional 12 steps, I know that was so important for me to attend, right? Because then it's just the same, right? People that are talking about where they were in their life,
Right.
where they're going now, and how they got there. It's a solid support network. So you build relationships with people that you can reach out to in a time of need. They have, the sponsee.
Right.
I don't know how much, there's traditions involved too, and I don't know how much of that we're actually allowed to discuss.
I don't want you
Okay.
to, but you can talk about generalities.
Right.
Yeah. So each of you have specific clientele. Would you tell
Yes.
our viewers what each of you do, especially your street outreaches? We'll start with you, Traci.
Well, so I do the intensive outpatient program where a group of women from CD get together, and in their recovery, I take care, or Provoking Hope takes care of them on a one-on-one basis. Like we work for goals, like they come in and we set specific goals for them to reach, starting off with little mini goals, or talk about what's going on in their life at that time. We do court support, so if one of the women need court support for DHS case that they're involved in, or whatever it may be, even if it was a simple traffic ticket and they felt like they needed support,
Sure.
we go in there and we stand with them so that they're not alone. And that's one of the big things is so that they don't feel alone, that they don't feel like it's them against the whole entire world, that they have somebody there to stand with them. I also do the Responsible Moms program with another CRM named Jules and my CRM manager, Betty. And together we work together in smaller groups with the women that have children the ages 6 and under, helping them be the best parent that they can be, working
Sure.
with their mind, their body, and their spirit. And we discuss several different things, and it's a group led. It's group led, and we facilitate it. So we get to talk about real personable things that they feel like. That they feel comfortable and secure and have that trust inside the group that they can talk about, that they can't do with other people,
Sure.
or they feel like they can't do with other people. We create an environment where they can open up, and it's amazing because, you watch them start off as a bud and just bloom into this beautiful flower.
Yes.
And it's so amazing, and it's so amazing to watch them sit up straighter, walk a little taller. I just absolutely love it.
So you talked about mini goals, mini, small
Yeah.
steps. That's really important because at first they're probably not really trying to achieve big goals.
So sometimes they come in with this is what I want to do. This is my main goal of what I want to do. But for them, in order for our peers, and that's exactly what they are, is our peers, starting off with a huge goal like that, let's work out these little mini goals. So when we get to the bigger goals and the bigger goals and bigger goals, that they're prepared, but that they feel that accomplishment with those mini goals. And
that
really
spurs them
important.
on, right?
Absolutely, it does.
The part about that is like early in recovery, when you're trying, like the thought of, I'm never going to use or I'm never going to drink again, right? That's absolutely overwhelming. But if I can just not do it right now, if I can get through today, right?
Right,
That's a
24-hour
success.
period.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, and it's good to start off that way too. Like when I wake up in the morning, I get out of bed, make the bed, right? And I've started my day off with an accomplishment.
Yep.
Right, and it's that building self-worth and self-esteem. So you give them small, achievable goals. And the best way to do it too is like, hey, let's set a goal. What do you think is an achievable goal by the time we meet next? And it's all small stuff like I'm gonna make sure that I attend all my groups, or I'm gonna call my kids every night. And that's incredible for building self-esteem.
Absolutely. And their self-esteem and you guys' self-esteem when you were in this, to both of you, had to have been really low.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I had my own counselor at chemical dependency. I was in IOP, and I don't know if I can say exactly the way he said it, but me and Albert both have the same story because he did it to both of us, and it was exactly what we needed in the time, right? Told him we had low self-esteem, and these are different at different times. I have low self-esteem. He said, no, you're kind of a crappy person. You have accurate self-esteem. You need to do some esteemable stuff. Yeah, true story. And it was not until that point when somebody actually told me that way that I realized that I had accurate self-esteem. I'd never done anything esteemable, so why should I feel good about myself? So he's like, do some service work, man. Think about some other people,
Yeah.
And that helps. And also doing stuff for other people gets you outside of yourself too.
Right, and you have to get outside of yourself.
Absolutely. Because
Yeah.
in addiction, it's all selfish. It's me, 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 me.
Yeah.
How can I get, use, find, continue to use or to drink, right? And the best way to avoid those obsessive thoughts is what can I do for somebody else?
Exactly. Traci?
That's why when I go home at night and I know that I have that feeling of I made a difference today.
Right.
Before, the negative differences that I made, way engulfed everything, you know what I mean? And now the positive changes that I have made in my own life get to rub off on others that feel that same despair. And so, yeah.
That's the upside of being a peer mentor too, is this is a community that I used and drank in, that I stole from, that I lied in, right? And I caused havoc here. And I did something different. I found a way to do something different with the help of my certified recovery mentor. And we get to be that living proof.
Yeah.
Right? People are like, man, I remember Jesse, and he was not this guy, right? I want to figure out how he did that, and it's that leading by example.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when I was a client for Provoking Hope in my CRM. I knew that is somewhere that I would want to be one day.
Yeah.
And asked them, how do I achieve this? And they said, just keep moving forward. And I too, in turn, have had clients ask the same thing. You know what? That's exactly. I have the CRM certificate sitting on my desk, and they said, that's exactly what I want to do. And I said, and that absolutely, you can do whatever you want to do. You can go beyond this CRM certificate.
Sure.
You just got to keep moving forward because I believe in you. I know you can do this.
Right, and that reminds me of our vision statement, right, which is bring them in, raise them up, equip them, and send them out. And it's incredible that we work for an organization that can bring in addicts, right? We raise them up, show them how we did it, walk them through, and that's the glorious part is we meet them where they're at. If you're not ready, that's all right.
And a lot of them are not ready the first time
And
through,
that's
right?
And that's okay.
Well, I mean, I work on an ESPER team where you consider first responders. So they go to the hospital, drugs or alcohol on board. They call the ESPER phone. We've got an hour to respond, and it can be any time. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. we met multiple clients in the hospital, the same one, multiple times. And then eventually something clicks. And they're like, man, these people have come here every time I've come here and sat next to my bed and just talked to me, made me feel like a person, right? When I felt like there was nothing else left. And just being there, meeting people where they're at, because I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, right? That's not going to do any good. When I was early in my recovery, don't tell me what I need to do, right? If you're not
Nobody
ready,
wants to hear
that's
that.
fine,
Right.
right? I'm going to walk next to you shoulder to shoulder, right? If you want to try to go get loaded again, you go do that, right? And if it doesn't work out, come back and see me. I'll be right here.
Yeah.
And that's it's a glorious system.
So talk about you go out into the street and meet with a lot of people, and it's mostly men, correct?
Well, I also work on the youth program.
Yes,
So-
talk about that for a moment.
So I partner up with Family and Youth, the juvenile drug court system.
Sure.
I work with kids that are 14 to 22 that really don't fall into any other programs.
Right.
And working with the younger population can be rough, right? Because you haven't hit rock bottom yet. You
Nope.
haven't lost everything yet.
And they think they know everything.
It can be rough because you can share your experience, and I'm kind of hitting that age where I'm like dad age,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So nobody wants to listen to their father, right? But what I do have to offer is because I was that youth too. I mean,
Right.
I didn't automatically turn into an addict at one point. I was that youth. I was in trouble, all that stuff. But what I'm doing is, like, I attend juvenile drug court.
Yeah.
Try to have one-on-one FaceTime with those kids, and just to be that support and work with the judges and the probation officer and the attorney, and just really try to do. The upside to that is I'm not the heat, right? I'm not a PO.
Right.
I'm not going to put you in juvie. I'm not going to tell you what you should do. I'm just support, just somebody to talk to. They can tell me things that they aren't going to tell their PO. They're not going to talk to their parents
And
about.
that's what makes it so much more comfortable for them to be able to come in. And if they don't feel comfortable coming into Provoking Hope
Exactly.
itself,
Oh.
we will go to them.
Oh yeah, well, I'm gonna get you at Dutch Brothers if that's what you want to do.
Sure.
Exactly.
You know,
And that's really important, that it doesn't have to be an on-site intake, that you can meet with these kids or adults and be able to talk to them and kind of stand beside them before they even come in.
Sure, because it does become intimidating going into another facility or
Yes.
something like that. It becomes very intimidating. And so when we meet them outside, if that's what they choose to do, it's their recovery, so it's their choice. But if we do go out there and meet them and then, meet them out 5, 6 times, whatever, there's no number on it, they feel more comfortable about coming in. They feel more secure and stuff and realize that, you're not here as a punishment at all.
Well, they lose their inhibitions after a while because you've met with them off-site. And now all of a sudden they can be comfortable to come in. That's awesome.
it is a pretty neat deal.
I know that the Responsible Dads program too, they go play disc golf. The men,
So
the men
it's a night we would do the responsible fatherhood curriculum, right? It's a 19 weeks. It's a 19 weeks of out of the book curriculum, but it's a 26 week to get a certificate
I
and
see.
and a T-shirt. And the reason it's 26 weeks is because 7 of those weeks we're doing what we call wellness. It's a wellness group where these group of guys, and right now it's anywhere between 9 and 13 guys every Wednesday night from 5 to 7:30. We just get together on the wellness ones. I mean, we're getting pizza and playing Pictionary, right? And it's building a positive, healthy, clean environment for fathers in recovery who are trying to do something different, right? So you're not only getting some education pieces, but you're also getting a little time to really get to know the people that you're in the group with.
Right.
So it's incredible.
That's
And
fantastic.
it builds these bonds, these
It absolutely does.
indestructible bonds between these men and women. Like we do baby showers and things like that for the women, and so we get to do this. We get to build these bonds, and they get to build these bonds, and it even well after they graduate the Responsible Dads program or the Responsible Moms program, you're finding that they're still connecting with the people that they have in group.
Right.
That they
Right.
because they built that bond.
And the upside is like me and Albert, that we co-facilitate together.
Right.
We both completed the program. When my brother was he's the one that started it. We did IOP together, right? We established a relationship, and now we get to work together. The cubicle wall separates us, and we both completed that group, right? We did IOP. The upside of RMP and RDP is that, like any other one of our services, it doesn't cost anything.
Right.
We're genuinely non-profit. Like, you come through the door, you don't have to pay anything. There's no membership required. Like, you just come in, bring yourself. As long as you suit up and show up, the rest of the magic just happens.
It does. It really does just happen. It really does.
So we only have about 3 minutes left.
Okay.
I know it goes by fast, huh?
It does.
So what do you think the overall benefit to the community is for having Provoking Hope in our neighborhood?
Just
So the overall benefit,
Yes.
I think it's just that we're adding value to our community.
Yes.
We're adding value to the people that make up our community. We're involved with other community agencies. What it brings is the ability to repair some of the damage that these people have done in our community, me being one. And
It's a transition.
absolutely.
It is, and these people that are transitioning out into the community are beautiful and wonderful people that have made just wrong choices. You know,
Well,
they're
look,
no different.
I'm looking at the two of
exactly.
you.
Look at us, like, right? Absolutely.
So how can this community and other communities get involved?
So really good ways to support Provoking Hope is donate. We do monetary donations. We do bring us some peanut butter and jelly.
Right.
Anything, volunteer your time. Anything that you want to do. You come in, you talk to management, and you can help any way. There's no way you cannot help.
Right.
The only way to not help is by not doing anything.
Exactly. Like, for example, the month of November, we did a big sock drive for the homeless.
Yes, really
Right?
important.
Yes, and it really is, because keeping those feet warm, you know, and it was amazing. We had so much response to that. It was a beautiful thing, because we have a lot of people that come through the doors, and just the simplest things of reaching out to them to give them a pair of socks to keep their feet warm. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
So when I was the operations manager of the soup kitchen at St. Barnabas, people used to bring in their hair dryers, take off their socks, plug in the hair dryer, and dry their socks. But we also had availability to socks. So I totally understand.
Yeah.
So my last question to each of you, and you each have about 30 seconds to answer this. What do each of you, and why do you do this important work in community? So we'll start with Jesse.
The reason I do this is that it honestly gives my life value and purpose.
Absolutely. Yes.
I was not a great father. I was not a great brother. I was not a great son. And I took from this community. And somebody did the same thing for me once. And I get the opportunity not only to give back to my community by helping these people, but to lift them up so that someday maybe they can do the same thing.
Traci?
That's exactly where I come from too. It's giving back to the community that I took so much out of, so much away from, not just my family, but the whole community. And this is my chance to give back. And the other thing that I know what it feels like to be in that dark place.
Yes.
And so for each person that we're able to help see that light in that dark place,
Yes.
it means everything that we went through was worth it.
Yes. I can't say enough about the two of you. I'm so glad that you're in this community. I'm so glad that you work with Provoking Hope to make a difference in other people's lives. And you guys have both been fantastic guests on this show today. And I can't wait for our viewers to see this.
We appreciate this too. This is an amazing opportunity, even more so put Provoking Hope out there.
Well, I'm going to have Diane Reynolds on in a future show.
Yes,
and
she's
she'll
beautiful.
describe, oh, she's awesome.
The chief
Thank
floor
you
scrubber.
so much, Traci,
Yes,
for being
thank
on.
you so much.
Thank
I
you so
appreciate
much,
it.
Jesse, for being on.
pleasure's all
and
mine.
thank you for watching today.